Hi, thanks so much for tuning in today. This is going to be the third installment of our autism journey, and our meaning myself and my twins, my boy-girl twins. If you have not watched the other two parts of this, number 1 and number 2, please go ahead and take a few minutes to check those out so that you can get caught up to speed. I am piggybacking these off of each other to end up having the full story told. So please do that so you can get caught up where we're at, because today I'm going to pick up where we left off on the second one, and I'm really going to be talking about what we are doing in order to recover my kids from this diagnosis. So basically where we were was when we have been diagnosed and what we're doing through school and how we're going to treat this. So, during this time I mentioned in my first video talking about a natural supplement that we started using for them, that a friend of mine was using for her daughter that was diagnosed ADHD. They had seen really great results, and knowing that there's some similarities between the two as far as certain personality things, I thought, let's give it a shot. And when I started my kids on that, within 2 weeks, I already started seeing some results with them. And you can go back to that video and talk about it, or to learn about it. And so what that did is that really raised a lot of questions with me of why? Why was that something that has yielded results? What is it about a detox supplement? And again, it's a blood cleanse, it's a blood detox, a chelation, a natural chelation supplement, and it's not an intestinal cleanse. So I wanted to understand why that was giving them results. So I really dove into a lot of research. I was fortunate to be accepted into some biomed recovery groups, biomedical healing, if you can say that, maybe a little bit better term. And in these groups there's thousands of people. One of them that is really kind of my go-to has upwards of 20,000 people in there, and the minds in this group are amazing. The brilliant people that are in there, the experiences that these other families have had and are still going through. You can go in and start to comment and ask, and you get all this feedback from everybody, and it's really been truly a lifeline for me, and I know it is of so many other people that are there as well. So that was one of the first things I started to look into, was that page, and I really didn't start talking much in there, and I did a lot of reading of the files in there that explain so much of what's going on, reading of people's posts, searching for certain topics and reading on those topics. I read and read and read and read as much as I could, and as much as time would allow. And what was comforting in that is that I had seen detox being discussed very heavily and quite often. And again, it's not intestinal cleanse, it's a blood detox. And people were consistently and still consistently see positive results and gains with their children on the spectrum by doing detox methods. The most popular in a lot of these groups is called the ACC Method, the Andy Cutler chelation, and it's a great way to go about it. It is natural. It can be done at home. You don't have to go to the hospital and hook up to IV. I mean, imagine checking in a young child who's not used to all of this, commotion that happens in hospitals. Imagine checking in a child to sit, and if they're on the spectrum, but any child still, to sit with an IV in their hand and receive treatment. And it's just not something a lot of times that people can manage. So, and me being a mother, I was a single mom of 2. There's definitely no way I can manage 2 kids trying to hook them up to, never mind, I can't even go there. So anyhow, this ACC method actually can be done at home. It's lengthy and it's involved. It does yield results. So, when you look at being a parent, and you will do anything you can in your power to help your child, is it worth doing? Yes. An astounding yes. Was it something that I thought I was able to do by myself? No, it wasn't. But I was seeing the same results people were seeing from ACC. I was seeing the same thing with this one supplement, a natural supplement. 4 natural products in it and done. So I found great comfort in knowing that this was something that people have already been doing. They've had results. I'm not this only person that is. This is very common. Chelation is very common in the spectrum communities. So I kept on with that. But then I started thinking, well, why? Why is this something that is yielding so results? What is going on with these children internally that is causing this to happen? So I dove further into research and into actual books. I'm somebody who loves books. I love to research through books. I like to flip those pages. Nowadays, it's internet, Google, da da da. I like both. Okay, so I dove into everything I get my hands on, and fast forward to now, where I can kind of put all of that in a nutshell. What is a lot of people are doing actual DNA tests, genetic testing. This isn't Maury Povich DNA, and nothing against Maury. Going strong, dude. Nothing against him. But it's really just getting a genetic test done to see where any genetic markers are. You've heard about it with the BRCA analysis. People did that to look for breast cancer, uterine cancer, all of that stuff. And it's the same type of test to see if there's genetic markers that they're finding through genetic testing and research, that they're finding are connected to certain other things. So when what they're finding is that through a lot of people that are actually submitting their genetic test results, they're finding that an MTHFR mutation is coming up quite common in children and adults that are on the spectrum. It's not 100%. Don't take that out of context. It's very common. And I said, all right, well, what is that? What does that do? And it seems to be that with MTHFR mutation, and some people can have 1, 2, 3, depending on where it is. Look into it. So most of the time the body does not detox itself. The glutathione isn't produced, or it's not produced enough. Something is going on to where the body is not able to, on its own, remove heavy metals and toxins that we're exposed to from multiple sources on its own. Why is that so deadly? Well, we read about it all the time, about the harmful reactions that can happen, as opposed when all of the stuff is still sitting in the system. It just kind of eats away internally. So, and some things are slower and some things are faster. I mean, if you swallow gasoline, I'm sure you're not going to have a positive turnout. So, that's kind of immediate. So other things are a slower process, and those are the heavy metals and the toxins that we're exposed to on a daily basis. So what happens is when the body cannot get rid of those, the body needs something else to help that happen, and that's why the detoxing comes into place. Chelation, I should just say chelation. So so the other thing that I was finding in all of this reading was that most of the time the methylation process is disrupted with people on the spectrum, and with MTHFR is that it's disrupted or doesn't even happen. Basically, methylation is kind of the live active. If you get methyl B12 or methylfolate, it's the active form. It's the body doesn't have to translate it. It's already translated because the body, for some reason, has an inhibited ability to translate. So what I did is I kept them on this detox supplement, and then a few months after that, and continually, I'm seeing results. But I keep everything kind of stable until we add something else in. So after that, the next step was I added in some methyl B12 and saw more results. I added in methylfolate and saw better results. And it's just little bitty things that most of the time I think general public may take for granted. When you're dealing with somebody, specifically for us it was spectrum, these little tiny things as far as making eye contact just when I call their name, making eye contact for more than 5 seconds when we're in conversation, being able to actually have a hug without begging for it or asking. They just come up and hug you. Little bitty things, that I can ask a question and they answer it. Things like that I think a lot of times get taken for granted in an everyday situation that are huge steps for us. So, I started seeing gains more and more and more. And So though we haven't done the genetic marker test yet, which we're about to, all of these things, when I put them on a detox supplement and then I add in some methyl supplementations, I'm seeing that they're showing progress. So to me, I'm saying, well, A plus, 1 plus 1 plus 1 equals 3. I'm thinking I know what the 3 is. So we keep working down that path. And after that, I was reading more and more about Fiji Water. And I thought, you know what? I can go buy it at the store. Yeah, Fiji Water in the square bottle. Fiji Water has something called oligomeric silica that's in it. It's a natural occurring form of silica. It's in Fiji Water in a high percentage. It's a lower percentage in Volnic water, but it's there. Horsetail tea, you can get it through Horsetail. It's a lower percentage than the Fiji as well. But people who are nervous about plastic, even though Fiji bottles are BPA free, some people get concerned about the plastics, and you can go Horsetail also. But the Fiji Water, I was able to go to the store and try it out. Let's just try this out and see what happens. And a week's time of them being on Fiji Water, and that means just any time that they have water to drink, it's always Fiji. I may infuse it with some fruits and mint or something. I may add some water flavorings. It just depends. But it's Fiji Water. And within a week, we had gone to the zoo after that week, and I asked my daughter what her favorite part of the day was. Not never, I shouldn't say never, but I wasn't expecting an exact response, but she looked square at me in the eyes, which stopped me in my tracks to really pay attention to what was happening. And she thought about it and she answered the question. Her favorite part of the day was feeding the giraffe a leaf. And I was astounded. She answered my question. That had not happened at that point, and they had just turned 4. So then, after my son had been on it for a week, he actually was making complete sentences for the first time. And it was very clear. It was a clear, thought out sentence. So I knew that there was something to this. So what we've done is our supplement program, a lot of people ask, is we do the natural detox. It's called Kevonic Core Detox Plus. We do the methyl B12, we do methylfolate and Fiji Water. And then we also are on probiotic, most of the time with Spectrum. And personally, health coach here, I think most people's gut health is not all the way right. It can always be improved. But it is showing is very common with Spectrum. Leaky gut is very common. All kinds of other things that have to do with the intestinal systems. So I have them on a probiotic, and that also helps with the absorption of everything else that they're getting. So that's our supplement program that we've been using. Why couldn't we use therapies? Because a lot of the therapies, which I discussed in my second installment, a lot of the therapies aren't covered under insurance. Now, are supplements covered under insurance? No, they're not. There's nothing, it's all out of pocket. But what I spend per month on supplementation is still less than I would spend on a secondary insurance policy. And it's also dramatically less than what I would spend out of pocket for all the therapies that are not covered by their insurance plan. So that kind of sums up what we do with our supplements. The next installment that I'm going to do next week is going to talk about the other part of their recovery program, which is the diet, which I love to talk about. So please make sure to join me the next time when I kind of go over some of the dietary things that we do to help them. Make sure to invite anybody else that you know to watch this that may benefit, or especially if they have something to add. I want to make this an open forum. This is just our journey. I'm not a medical doctor, but I think all of us need to have a voice and come together to try and find answers for these children, and to find answers for those who are actively researching to try to help further the results that we can get to recover these children. So please make sure to spread the word about my channel. Thank you for subscribing. You can also find me on Facebook. I do a weekly Facebook Live right before I shoot these videos, and you can follow me there. On Instagram as well as Snapchat, you can look for me And I wish everybody a wonderful Friday, a wonderful weekend, and I'm sending you all lots of love and peace and light. Thanks so much.